There's no point all coming down as different souls and then playing the same game, because you're just copy and pasting the same CD. The same game is just being copied and pasted. So you're not helping the God field by playing the same thing down here in this reality. Whoa! This world is a game. This world is a game. We're not here to shame and blame, we're here to play our own game. Are you ready to step in your lane and find your authentic flame? Allow me to help you flow back into your game. Let's go. Introducing the God-filled gaming on demand concept, part 1. So in this video, I'm going to introduce to you guys the concept of this God-filled and what it's all about and how you guys can connect back to your own God field. Just a quick heads up before we get started, all of the slides in this video are in the video description down below, so go check them out so you can see the slides a bit more clearly and help you follow along. Let's get to it. Ancient wisdom meets God field. Before I get into explaining what the God field concept actually is, I would like to just point out that the God field concept is a fusion between ancient esoteric knowledge and wisdom, modern scientific concepts and technology. So it's a combination of everything. So just before I explain what the God field concept is, I would like to just quickly just touch upon the ancient wisdom first and how it was explained and perceived before in the past, how reality was perceived in the past, right? So the Mayans 4,000 years ago, they perceived reality as interconnected, physical, spiritual, and cosmic realms were all intertwined, right? They saw reality as balance of opposites and viewed life and death as an ongoing perpetual cycle and highlighted eternal nature of existence. Everything was just a constant loop. That's how they saw reality. The ancient Egyptians, approximately 4,500 years ago, perceived reality governed by Ma'at. Ma'at was a concept embodying truth, balance, order, harmony, and justice. Right? They saw the cosmos carefully structured in divine order, maintained by the gods, and then mirrored into society. Life on earth was intertwined, the afterlife and reality extended beyond the physical existence to the spiritual realm, where souls would continue their journey after death. And then we got the Hindus, approximately 4,000 years ago, perceived reality as a complex, interconnected system with ultimate truth being Brahman, the all-encompassing, formless and eternal reality. The Hindus saw reality as Maya. It's the world of illusion. This 3D world is the illusion, right? It's not the real world, because we got the spiritual side of things that is unperceived by the 5 senses, right? So as you see, all of these ancient wisdom and teachings are very similar. They all believed in the afterworld, eternal existence, that we're all one. They all lived at different times. They all lived across different continents, but they saw reality very similar, right? So the God field, after exploring and applying these ancient teachings in my daily life, I'm excited to share with you guys the gaming on demand God field concept. This idea has become an integral part of my day-to-day life. This is how I live my life. This is how I see it. This is how I experience my reality, by living through this concept, right? It's made sense by applying all of this ancient wisdom and having the own personal experience within my life. Right, that's the only way. If we have personal experience, no one can take that experience away from you, because it's happening within you. My aim is to present this God-filled concept in a way that resonates with everyone and it's easy to grasp, right? Because these ancient teachings and wisdoms, they were explained in a time that it made sense back then, but we live in a modern day world now, and our analogies, the stuff that is relevant to us in this day-to-day life with technology and everything like that, these concepts, and apply them by bringing them into the modern day world, right? So this is my thing and my perspective on how I see this God-filled theory, and it's much needed in this world, right? We need to make sense of what reality actually is, right? Without going back and trying to decipher all of the ancient teachings, is to bring it all into relatability in this modern day world. Relatability, is that a word? So the God field concept, I want you guys to imagine that we are in a video game right now. This reality is a game, right? This body, this mind, this body is your physical avatar in this game, right? Most of us, when we're not spiritually awakened, when we're not spiritually aligned, we believe we are this mind and we believe that we are this body, right? We're walking around in this avatar thinking, this is me, this is the world, and we're living in that duality. We believe we're here and we're sensing reality with our five senses, right? We've got touch, sight, sound, smell, taste. But there's more to us. We're not just this physical body. We are part of a higher dimensional self. So you could consider this physical body as your lower dimensional self, your lower dimensional avatar to experience this reality. We also have a higher dimensional self because we exist in multiple dimensions. So let's touch upon the actual how the game works first, right? So we know that everything is source consciousness. Everything is consciousness first. Everything is all one energy. We all come from that unified field of one energy, one consciousness, and let's call it the unified field network. It's all unified. It's all one thing first. Let's say that you're playing a video game. Your physical self is here, but we're connected to a gaming host, like a server. Like you're playing a video game and the game is hosted online. So let's say that is God. So it's a gaming on demand host cloud server, right? This all-encompassing server creates dimensions. It's the divine code, it's the base code for the game you're experiencing right now in this reality. So let's start from the top, and God can also stand for the generator of dimensions. We as human beings right now live in the third dimension. However, reality and the universe exists over 15 dimensions in total, right? 15 dimensions. The dimensions are created over energy, frequency, and vibration. So everything is just vibrating at different frequencies. So that's creating the different dimensions. So we are vibrating at the third dimension. We live in the third dimension. We're vibrating in 3D. It's just a frequency and a vibration. It's a level of consciousness. When we are in the physical world, the 3D world, it's physical matter. It's at the highest density. This is why we feel physicality. But what we need to understand is we descend from this top level view. So our game that we're experiencing right now actually is hosted up here in this gaming on demand network. And we descend through the 15, the 14, the 13, all the way down to the third dimension where we're experiencing reality now. Our game is still connected all the way up there. All the software for your game that you're experiencing here is hosted there in the cloud. That's the way to see it, right? Hope this is making sense. So as we descend down into this earth, we still have different levels of dimensional self, because your whole self, your real core self of who you are, because you're part of this unified network, you exist up here, and then you exist on multiple dimensions coming all the way down, and you're having the physical experience here. Whereas you need to understand that the 3D world is physical matter, and after you go above the 3D world, which is the non-physical, the 4D and above, is the spiritual world. The spiritual world is metaphysical. You cannot perceive it with the five senses. And the 4D is the mental plane. That's where your thoughts exist. So imagine the thoughts, you can't see them, you can't conceive them, but they come in, right? Because they exist outside of this dimension. So reality is actually mental first, and then reality comes to play. Because understanding that before we come down and play this game, our unique game, we have a divine blueprint. We have a game map. So we map the game before we come down to experience. So imagine you code out the game, you make the game that you want to play, and then you go, okay, I want to play it now. So you put it into the console, you get born into this world. But what happens? We forget that we got this divine blueprint map, because what happens when we get born? We get this identity network installed in us. We get a name, we get identity, we get all these things. If you haven't checked out my video about the identity network, go check that one out. I'll leave it in the video description down below. But this identity network it makes us forget our actual game plan, because we get labeled with all these different identities and we get told who we are and what we've come here to play. So you could say that the game CD that gets loaded into us is corrupted by the external world. So you've had this CD that you wanted to load and play in your video game as you come in, but it just gets corrupted by the external world and it gets infiltrated. And they tell you how to play the game. This is the game you need to play. This is what you need to work in. And all these systems are controlling your game experience, right? And when we come in as this physical avatar and then we live in this reality, if we don't have a spiritual connection, if we're not spiritually aligned or connected to our higher dimensional self, we're operating in the duality consciousness, right? It's offline mode. You're playing offline. You're not connected to your game, and you're just playing the game that you've been told to play. So a lot of us go through our lives not knowing our true purpose. We feel disconnected. We don't know why we're here or what we're doing, because we're spiritually disconnected from what we actually decided to come here and play. So your mind and body is the hardware, the software is the spirit, the consciousness that is inside of the body. So now, your physical avatar is here, but you are experiencing reality through your consciousness. You're not the mind. You cannot control the thoughts that are coming in. You're not digesting your body. You're not breathing it. It's all happening by itself. So your avatar is autonomous. You are the consciousness inside of it. So that's what the software is. The spirit, the soul, is having awareness. So your spiritual being having a human physical experience. So the game and the hardware are connected. But when you're playing in this offline mode, you're disconnected from your higher dimensional selves. Your higher dimensional self exists through all 15 dimensions, right? You can, as soon as you wake up and realize that you are a multi-dimensional being, you can access your multi-dimensional selves. Because why do you want to do this? You want to do this because your divine blueprint map, the game you wanted to come here and play, exists in the 12th dimension. It's hosted there. So when you access your higher dimensional self, you can access the game you actually came here to play. And that's what it's all about. It's about reconnecting back to your authentic self, spiritual aligning yourself to your multidimensional self, and streaming your game that you came here to play. So you come back online. You come back online and you start playing your game in the present mode, and you're not offline. And that's what comes with level of consciousness and awareness. As soon as we wake up and realize who we are and what we are and where we come from, you start moving into the lane of your own game. That's a good one. Moving into the lane of your own game. You have your physical avatar here, which is just experiencing reality, but you need to be present in the present moment to receive the directions of where to go and where to, because your map, your game map of where to go, your higher dimensional self has the POV. It knows where you need to go, where you need to show, where you need to turn up. So when you access your higher dimensional self, it can give you the directions of where you need to go. From the POV of this physical avatar, you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what's around the corner. But if you connect to your higher dimensional self, it sees the bird's eye view of where to go, who to go, where to go, what you wanted to experience, what's around that corner. It's guiding you in your highest potential according to the map you came here to play. So this is why it's critical to recognize your higher dimensional self and your lower dimensional self and connecting the two. So it's basically reconnecting the game controller back into your consciousness. So you put yourself online and you start streaming the game you came here to play. So as we are this physical avatar right now, we all have this game field around us, right? This game field. we all have our unique energy signature, right? We're moving through reality with this field. So if you look at this energy field, this is called a torus field in physics. We have this electromagnetic field that is constantly going around us. And that you could call your game field. That's how you experience your reality. So everyone has their own game field, unique to them, playing their own game. If you're online and connected, you can stream according to your divine blueprint. So what's the end goal for us souls? Why does souls want to play these games? Well, it's levels of ascension. Like once we complete our 3D game in this reality, once we complete what we've actually came here to play, we ascend to the 4, 5, 6, and it's levels of consciousness. It's levels of ascension. So you complete your game and then you level up and you move up the dimensions and you move out. But if you play your life offline and you play the map of the external world and the reality, you don't play the game you actually designed and came here to play, you end up in a cycle loop. You keep cycling around and round. You'll keep cycling because as soon as you're born, you got the identity network and then you forget what you actually came here to play. And then if you don't wake up to the fact that you are a higher dimensional being, higher dimensional self, came to play a particular experience in the game, and the main goal for us soul gamers, well, that's who we are soul gamers. We're here to ascend the levels. We're here to expand. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve. And that's the whole game. What is the end goal for the God Field Unified Network? So the main goal for this God Field Unified Network is to create as many different versions of games as possible, right? Unique, original games using the divine base code, like the original code, splitting it and then making different variations. That's the whole purpose of this God Field, because it wants to use soul players, which it splits. It goes, okay, soul players, because you're all part of this one field, and then you're split, and then you'll become different souls. You're soul players now, and then you go down and you have your own experience, your own reality, your own game, unique game, and then you feed it back to the source because you are part of the God field. You are part of the one source. So the unique game that you have, you feed it back. There's no point all coming down as different souls and then playing the same game, because you're just copy and pasting the same CD. The same game is just being copied and pasted. So you're not helping the God field by playing the same thing down here in this reality. We came down to experience and evolve and then feed back. That is the whole point. So the host, the God field, unified field, wants to host the largest library of unique games. By this, it's to aid its evolution, to understand itself. As many games and aspects it can create from its identity down and then back up. It's a game of evolution, right? It's an infinity loop. It's a game of evolution. It's a perpetual state of game of consciousness. Consciousness is always looking to evolve, so it's just constantly back and forth, back and forth. And as you are the same soul gamer, you are wanting to evolve your soul and grow and then unify back to the God field, right? Because you as a soul are a unique flavor, you're a unique perspective in this world. You have a unique perspective in this game. You have an angle of experience. Not everyone sees the same angle as you. Not everyone experiences the same as you. You are unique. You are a unique soul player in this game. So using the base code, the divine code, you've come down and you're extracting it, you're pulling it in, you're giving your spin, you're having your own unique experience with the divine code, and then you're feeding it back to the game source. You're feeding it back to the divine code. So let me give you an example of this evolution game in technology, right? We have an operating system called Linux, just like Windows, Mac OS, there's an operating system called Linux. There was an original base code of Linux back when it was first created, right? We had the original source code. It was open source. So just like universal unified field. It's open source, and then it goes down and it just splits. So you can see the Linux operating system as the base code. And then if you look at all of these different branches off, there are different flavors, different versions coming from that base code. So we have all of these distributions. There's loads. Over the years, the Linux distribution has grown that much from that one base operating system, and every distribution is different. Every operating system branching off that is different, right? And then you can see that as the God field, and then the God field are every single person having a different flavor, game experience, and then that feeds back because we're all from the one source. So as software represents evolution from one base code, and then we make different distributions, this is what we are. We are part of this. Technology replicates who we are because we are the technology. Technology is the externalization of what we are. We've just expressed it on the outside world. But because we are that technology from within us, that's what it is, because the outside world is just a mirror of what is going on within us. So it's just an extraction of that. And this is what you can see in technology. Everything you see in technology is basically what we are. We are biological computers having a biological experience with consciousness, which is our stream of awareness. Everything is consciousness. So I think that this is I think it's hopefully, yeah. Blah. Right, the ancient Egyptian, he wants to host. Does it mean like God? Gaming on demand? We all know what gaming is, right? We all know what gaming is. Gaming is God, and we are God. That's it for today's video. I hope it made sense. I know it was a lot to go through. If you have any questions, or if you want to add to this or want me to elaborate on anything, just let me know in the comments down below. But I trust you found this video useful. Give it a like, give it a share, subscribe so you get notified when I drop new content. But yeah, honestly, this God field, we all have it. We all need to activate it. We all need to live inside of this field, and then you start playing your own unique game. So this is part one. In part two, we will dive in a little bit deeper and just start exploring the different modes that we can operate in and how to start activating your game field going down. So be sure to stay tuned and check out part two, maybe part three. I don't know how many parts this is going to be, because I'm just working on this week by week. So whatever's coming out is coming out. And feel free to connect with me on the socials. I'm on all the social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitter, and Snapchat. And I'll catch you in the next one. Sending you much love and light, my beautiful souls. Goodbye.